Hi, this is Lynn Langit for All Things Data. In today's screencast, I'm going to take a look at the RedGate tools for SQL Azure. I've been working with several clients around the Azure stack, and I want to just try these tools out, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. You can see the URL at the bottom of this page. Before we get started, a slide with a little bit more information about who I am and what I do and where I work. So you can see that I'm working in the Google stack, the Microsoft stack. I do work on the Amazon cloud as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So here I am on the RedGate Cloud Services, and you can see that there is a trial period here, and they have a nice, looks like easy to use interface, so we're going to try it out. The URL is cloudservices.redgate.com/tool. And you can see that we have several different options for backing up and restoring SQL Azure, syncing storage, snapshotting storage, backing up Azure tables, and restoring Azure tables. Now, to prepare for trying this out, I've set up a SQL Azure database with a single table with a little bit of data in it, a SQL Azure storage account, as well as an S3 storage account. So I'm just going to go through the options and see how they work and see which ones seem to be working best for my particular situation. So I'll start with backup SQL Azure, and I'm going to go ahead and say to Azure. And then I'm going to pause the video while I fill in this information, and then I'll run it and see how it works. So one of the things that I found in setting up the configuration on the SQL Azure side is you do not need the HTTPS, and if you put that in, it will fail. And then once you get the correct name of your SQL Azure instance, which you'd get, of course, off of your SQL Azure portal here, there's my name, then you would click test, and then you would get a list of your databases, and that should come back successfully. Now I'm going to pause the video again while I can configure the destination. Alright, unfortunately I can't get the portal to recognize the Azure storage account. So you can see here's my Azure storage account name, and I've tried a couple permutations with the HTTP, with the trailing slash, and just doesn't seem to work. And you can see here I do have this storage account, and it does work inside of here. So I'm going to leave this scenario, and I'm going to go for the next scenario, which is to work with S3 and see if I can get it going with S3. So I'll pause the video and do that configuration. So I've had a little bit better luck with Amazon S3. You can see I have an S3 bucket over here that I created for this, and I retrieved my security credentials and I tested it, and that worked right away. So once I was able to test it, then I just pointed it to the new bucket that I had created, and I listed a file name of testlin. And notice you can say on success, remove backups older than whatever certain number of days. And I'm going to click continue. And here is I'm backing up from SQL Azure to Amazon, and you can see here's the scheduler. And I'm just going to run right now. Actually, let me try and schedule it. So it's Monday. Let me make sure the scheduler thing works. And it is about almost 3:30. So let's add in 3:30. I can type that in and add, and I'm in the Pacific time zone, so we got to get the right time zone here. So let's see, where am I? And once I've set it to run, then I'm also going to say run now to make sure that it works. And you can see here the job has started, start time is imminent, and there's the finish schedule, and then I can put in a new job, much like using the SQL agent. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and then I'll come back and show you whether the job succeeded or failed. So great, so it looks like this completed successfully, so let me drill in and see what kind of information I can see. So let me drill in, and there it is. There's my information. All right, and then let me go over here to my S3 bucket and see what's in there. And oh, it's my backpack. Okay, fantastic. So that looks good. So now let me see what else I can look at here. Pretty happy with that. And let me go back and take a look at some of the other services. So I could restore. That looks like it would be the same thing. Sync storage, Azure to Azure, Azure to Amazon, Amazon to Azure. Okay, interesting. Should try that. Snapshot storage. What does this look like? So storage account name, well, I wasn't getting the storage account name to work, so doing a snapshot, that looks interesting. And backup Azure table. So to Azure JSON GZ file, zip file. Let's see if I can get this one to work. Okay, again, I think I'm going to have this same problem though. So this is backing up an individual table, okay? So I'm going to have to get that storage account to work and restore a single table. So that's interesting functionality. So let me go ahead and pause the video and see if I can get this backing up to Azure Blob Store to work for any of these other scenarios. Okay, I remembered how you configure an Azure storage account name. Again, I think it's because I use Amazon more frequently and they use access keys. You just use the first part of the DNS name. So it's different than using the SQL Azure alias, which is the entire DNS name. So you just use the first part. The error messages in RedGate here weren't really helpful. I think probably because they assume more knowledge of Azure than I was having. So you just put that first part in, then the key, and test it. And then here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this backup that I generated from SQL Azure into Amazon S3, and I'm going to copy it to an Azure container. So kind of a neat functionality there. So I'm going to copy that in. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And again, you have the same as last time where it shows nicely what you're doing. You can set up the scheduling, or you can just run it. And so here's my second job. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while this runs. I'm really liking this now that I've remembered how to access the Azure blobs, and it seems like a great set of functionality. I'll be really interested if any of you out there listening have tried out these RedGate cloud services, how you like them, how you use them, and if there are any other tips. So as this is finishing up, I'm just going to switch back to remind you that this is Lynn Langett for All Things Data, and if you want to try this out, you just go to cloudservices.red-gate.com/tool, testing out SQL Azure tools from RedGate. Have a great day.